Good afternoon, everybody, and delighted to be here in Tipperary today. And I suppose I just want to say, in case I forget, the retail retreat that David spoke about, I think it's fantastic, and I think we've 12 people registered to go from Arboretum, even though it's the busiest time of the year for us, and it's really hard to let people go, but that's what we do, because we just think that it's so worthwhile for everybody, and we always learn a lot. So I'm Rachel Doyle, and I am the Chief Executive of Arboretum Garden Centres, as Rita said, in Carlow and in Wicklow. And I started off, David was talking about stories, and I really think that in Ireland, Irish people are great for telling stories, and we should all tell stories about our business. So I'm going to bring you on a story of my journey in Arboretum. And I went back to college at 22, and that was 40, a whole lot of plus years ago. So it wasn't the done thing to be a mature student at that stage. Now it's normal enough. And I went back to study horticulture because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I had been teaching and I had been working in an office, and those didn't float my boat for me. And I went back to college and I came out with first class honours, not because I was bright, but because I was doing what I wanted to do, and I was really determined that I couldn't get enough information into my head. And I'm still learning, and I still am a course junkie. And I was at a thing about banks yesterday morning at 7:30 in the Dolman Hotel in Carlow. And anything that I feel, and that's where I suppose retail excellence has been so much part of our journey, and so has a County Enterprise Board in Carlow and Leo now. And years ago, County Enterprise Board, Michael Kelly and now Kieran Comerford said, all it is to do is ring Rachel, and she'll come herself and she'll bring a whole clatter of people. And that was true. And that's how I believe so much that we're always learning. So Arboretum began in my up and over garage door was my shop window, and my garage was my potting shed and was my shop. And I had a polythene tunnel that was great. And I'm just going to tell you about my first experience of really good customer service, because I think customer service is something we should all be really tuned into. This is back 40 years ago. We'd spent £500 at a time to build a glass house, an 18-foot by 12-foot glass house. This was my dream. Everything. I didn't want a helicopter or a Porsche. This glass house was for me. And my dad, Lord rest him, and myself and my husband and my brothers had all cleaned up, and we had a big heap of stones in the garden. And a neighbour came in, had offered with his, I call them all JCBs, those big yellow machines. He came in with that to move the heap of stones. And he hit the dwelling house, our bungalow, with the corner of the bucket on the JCB and put it into reverse and went straight back to the glass house. So I remember going over to him and telling him it was okay, and going in and crying my eyes out, because this was absolutely, I hadn't put a plant in it. So I went back to Lenihan's in Capel Street in Dublin, where we bought it, and they remembered, because there wasn't too many spending £500 on that size glass house at that stage, and they gave us replacement stanchions and replacement horticultural glass at a fraction of the cost. And so that was my absolute, I'll never forget it. I sent hundreds and hundreds of people to Lenihan's. Now we sell the glass houses ourselves, but if there's a size that we don't have, we would send them to Lenihan's as well. So that's my example of customer service. So that's how I started up, very humble beginnings in my polythene tunnel. And another little problem that I encountered of sexism was people would come and say, can I speak to the man of the house, and when will the boss be home? So that was one of the challenges that I had to overcome, because I didn't expect a woman to be in what was a very male-dominated business. And during one of the times I was off giving gardening classes at night, the editor of the National and Leinster Times came out to ask me if I'd write an article in the paper. And I wasn't there, and thank God I wasn't, because I would have said, no, I'm not good enough, I'm not confident enough. And my husband, Frank, said, yes, she will, no problem. So for 16 years I wrote for the Nationalist, and it was a head and shoulders of me in it, in the article. and it gave me credibility. And I would say to every one of you here in the room, take any opportunity you can to sell your business to the public. I then wrote for The Independent for 6 years. I still write for articles for magazines and papers. And last Monday, I often do the Pat Kenny show, a slot on gardening. They rang me last Monday. I was up, got 20 minutes, and Pat said at 9 o'clock that I was coming on. 11 o'clock brought me in, told me that we talked about what I was going to talk about. I went back out, and from 20 to 12 o'clock, I was on talking about gardening. And Pat is very kind. He'll always say where I am and all the rest. And then on Saturday, I was on the business show on RTE1. Lorraine from Retail Excellence rang and asked would I go on just to talk about the weather, the impact of the weather on retail. So always I say yes. There is no little word, no, in my vocabulary. And that's what happened when they rang me to ask me if I'd do this. So the business is very much a family-run business. Our two sons, Fergal and Barry, are both directors and shareholders. They came in, first of all, they worked their way through it. I thought that when they were growing up, because I was bringing them to work with me, I thought they'll either hate the horticulture and gardening or they'll love it. Well, thank God they love it. Barry trained as a horticulturalist, Fergal done business, so I couldn't write the script for them if I wanted to. It's excellent. Frank is retired from the business. He came in to work with me in the business as well. And when that was a huge decision, giving up a good job with a company car, second best salesman in the company that he was working in, but he was always my rock and behind me in the business. So we started up with my up and over garage door, and then realised that I was about a mile off the main road. Now the Loughlin Bridge roads are all sort of mean, but so in retail they say the most important things is location, location and location. And for me, I realised I might as well have been in Timbuktu because people couldn't find us. Or enough people couldn't find us. So we went into a rented premises in Carlow, and we again then that was running okay, working extremely hard, and then we bought a site in Carlow on the opposite corner to Super Quinn, and Super Quinn was the shop to shop in at the time. And we were very fortunate then. There was lots of I really wanted to talk about a few of the road bumps that happened along the way. Another road bump after, as well as the glass house, was that I went in one day with two boys, I don't know where Frank was, to open up on a Sunday to see the River Burren was up at the gate. And I just didn't know what to do. Our solicitor happened to be Frank Lanigan, who just lived up the road. He was coming down and probably saw how distraught I was. Went back, got his wife's Wellingtons and a pair of Wellingtons for himself, and helped me to lift all the conifers. Conifers would hate their roots sitting in water, up on benches. And we were closed for over a week. And it was the time when the banks weren't so good. And I remember being very annoyed with them. They put a charge on every cheque that we wrote and all of that. But you get over all of those, and because there's no use in lying down. I'm an eternal optimist. The glass is not half full with me; it's full all the time. So it's lucky I don't take a drink. But I really believe that no matter what, unless somebody dies, anything else we can sort out. So we then moved across to this site. We were at the River Burren, and that was going well, and we worked extremely hard. And then we realised volumes of traffic in those days was starting to increase, and nobody was coming in on a Friday because they couldn't get back on. There was no traffic lights on that junction, so nobody was coming in because they couldn't get back out onto the R448 road. So we had. In the meantime, we'd bought a beautiful old house in Loughlin Bridge on 6 acres. And beside that was a 10-acre site, field. And there was a gate into it from the house. The house is 150 years old. And I believed in my heart of hearts that this field was going to be ours. And then Frank asked the owner if ever he wanted to sell, would he give us first refusal. So a few months later he came and he said, I need to sell the field. So we bought the 10-acre field, and this was fantastic. We now I mean, I always thought it was going to be a great site for a garden centre. So we were moving out, and an awful lot of people told me I was mad, but that's normal, so I believe it now. But we moved out of Carlow back to the 10-acre field. We set up a garden centre in it, and that's where the Arboretum is today. And we have now taken over an acre of the 5 acres we bought for storage. So the site in Loughlinbridge is on 11 acres. So, and I suppose it's I'm going easy on the slides. So that's Aldi. Then at the back of that site was a sloping piece of ground, about an acre down to the River Barrow. And I remember going down one day in a pair of Wellingtons, and it was being used as a dump, and I thought, no dumping down there anymore. We're going to make a garden. So I got the team together and said, what was your first introduction to gardening? Somebody said, Jack and the Beanstalk. I said, perfect. So we built the pond at the bottom of the garden. You'll see it in the video that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. And it's the shape of a bean. And the main red pathway winding up to the top where there's a maze. And that's the top of the beanstalk. Now, I have to tell you, that is win, win, win. Win for the kids, they can run riot. Win for the parents, the kids are not bothering them. And win for us, the kids are not pulling the labels out of plants. So really worthwhile, that maze. And then we tell a story to adults about how colour affects your mood. And green is for vitality, orange is for optimism, yellow for contentment, orange for so on. So then another thing was the Edinburgh Wooler Mills approached us to put in a franchise. We had seen this working in England, and like the coffee shop, we were the first one in Ireland to have a coffee shop in a garden centre, and we were the first one to bring in franchise or rent space. So Edinburgh Wooler Mills came, and we gave them a space, and they're a really good tenant, and they bring in my age group and older. And then we said, we're missing a trick. All of the younger people, we're not catering for them. So then we put in a fashion store within our own shop. And you know what? The first year it was open, I was disgusted. Per square foot, the best performing area was, guess it, not plants, fashion. Second best was kitchen store, nearly freaked. And plants are king to me. And by the way, when you enter Arboretum in Loughlinbridge, you enter through plants. And that's because I'm a plants person at heart. You exit through plants. So that your first memory coming in is you were in a garden centre. If you want to buy a dress or electric kettle or whatever, Christmas, you can do that. But first of all, plants are king. Back in 2009, and this was a huge road bump for us, we knew the motorway, the M9, was going to happen. Of course we did, but we had I think we didn't have an idea how bad it was really going to affect our business. We were on the main road that was going from Waterford to Dublin and Kilkenny to Dublin. And suddenly, only a kilometre away the people were being flying. Nobody needed to go to the loo anymore or have breakfast or lunch. So we had to really have, I remember the morning going down with Fergal, Barry and Frank and saying, guys, we either have to let staff go or we have to do something radical. So we done something radical. We said we had to rethink, refocus, reinvest, redesign, redevelop, re-energise, re-engage and relaunch. And I know the staff were worried because they knew that there was no customers coming. So we done that, and we got plans drawn up. And that morning I was thinking we might spend 2,000 to 10,000 and put up graphics and all the rest. But as the conversation went on, we realised that when I was saying, when we were really busy with the bottleneck, the counters weren't in the right place. So we spent 750,000 in the middle of the recession. The only thing that remained the same was the roof. So from an accountancy point of view, the accountant said he was pulling his hair out. He was saying, that's crazy. But we were looking at the bigger vision. The bigger picture was, if they came to the cafe, they were going to spend in the plant area, they were going to spend in the shop, they were going to spend money in pet shop. And if we didn't put product in the right position to entice them to buy, we weren't doing the job right either. So we completely gutted the cafe and opened it, I think it was something like 40 days later. We put a pop-up shop, a pop-up cafe in the shop so that the customers weren't inconvenienced, the people who came every day for the coffee and scone, and we kept the kitchen opened, just part of the kitchen open, completely cordoned off. And you know yourself when you do up a room in the house, and then you go into the next room and you think it's old hat, and you need to do a little bit of a job there. Well, that's exactly what happened to us. When the cafe was done, we decided really we need to do the shop. And if we're doing the shop, we need to do the outdoor area. So you can imagine that is the outdoor area in the picture, and that's the shop in the picture during the revamp. We had shops, we had units out in the yard where we put up a pop-up shop and a pop-up plant area. So during this period, we had a nice brand. It was nice. We used to call it a Nike swoosh. It was blue in colour. But as we were progressing through this, we thought we should look at our branding as well. So we rebranded, and that's the new Arboretum brand. Arboretum and E, there's a little dot under the E, and people say to me, what does that mean? So that people can pronounce it Arboretum. And Arboretum means a collection of unusual plants. And that's what we do that. We have plants that you won't get anywhere else in the country. And I was over in Holland 2 weeks ago. And I smile when I think of it. I got there at 10:30. I had the plant area manager from Loughlinbridge and from Kilquade with me. And between 10:30 when I arrived and 4 o'clock when I closed, I spent 50,000 on plants. And the two lads I said, I was going on to another show on trends, and they were going back to the airport. I said, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and hear what you two were saying about me when you got rid of me. But these are signs. Signage is very important, and signage, we call it our silent salespeople, because if we put signage good enough that it tells the story. I'm not sure whether I have a slide on the signs, but in the signage out in the Rivero, which is 80% of Loughlinbridge is on the cover now, and the Rivero is just a big poly structure that in 70 seconds we press a button and it opens. That's faster than Wimbledon, and it really means that last Sunday, after people having cabin fever, do you know what? They were dying to get out and look at the plants, and I went out around 3 o'clock into the Rivero, and there it was, full of people, hundreds of people in it. Now, people used to say to me, and this is for everybody that has a shop front, to say, I pass by your place and I always mean to go in. And I was thinking, oh, don't say that to me. And it was Pebble Dash, white Pebble Dash. And we decided we'd wrap the whole building in this lovely composite that's environmentally friendly. And you see the big stretch banners. And you all know what R&D is, research and development. Well, I'll tell you what it is to me. It's rob and duplicate. I saw that idea in Germany, and I took it into my brain and brought it home. I thought, we can do that in Loughlinbridge. We can put those banners. All along the other side of that building is the N9 or the R448 it is now, and it all has those stretched banners with images, selling the dream, telling the story, and that's what we all need to do. Sell the dream, be dreamers. I'm a dreamer to the last. And tell the story. So I just wanted to show you the checkout here. The checkout, first of all, we put a lovely graphic of the bridge in Loughlinbridge, which is the oldest working bridge in Europe. And the locals, I blew in there 40 years ago, but now it's like this was the best thing ever. Their bridge, and we have it as the exit of the thing. But you see the banquet of gift tokens, because I don't think it's fair to have little sweets at the counter where kids are and they're annoying the parents. So we put in this. Yesterday, I asked the guy in the EPOS, I said, can you check for me how much gift tokens is out that hasn't been redeemed? 187,000 it's worth in our bank account and in people's handbags and the drawers at home. So I admire those. I think they're lovely. This is just a picture of the garden and the pool. This is the shape of a bean, and this garden, when in the busy season, our plant manager or whoever in the plant team that's ordering will go down to this garden and look and see what's in flower. And instead of ordering a shelf, they'll order a trolley or 2 trolleys, because this is what sells plants, this garden. So it's so worth it on so many things. This is just an example of the new branding, and that's the entrance. And I think it's so important to have the entrance looking smart and crisp and clean. Retail is experienced in Arboretum because we have loads of events. As much as I want to think Leighlinbridge and Kilquade is the centre of the universe, I know it's not. We're 10 kilometres to Carlow, 17 to Kilkenny. We're in the middle of nowhere, lovely little village. So we have to really get people to come. And actually Tipperary is very good to us. But and when people say to me, who's your customer base? And I'm not being smug when I say this, I say Ireland, because we have delivered to Donegal and Killarney and Oughterard and everywhere else. And that is absolute truth. So this is events. We do fashion shows. So it's funny to watch the men when come in on Saturday morning during the season, and they just come in for a few plants, and next there's these models walking up and down through the plant area, and it's great fun. Like, we do pottery. We get people in. This is Dermot O'Neill, a great friend of mine, trying his hand at pottery. In 2014, 2015, I'm a real believer in networking. I went to my first international congress in 1995 to Toronto in Canada. I haven't missed one since. Every year I go somewhere. I've been all over the world with it, but I've been liaising and with like-minded people, and we learn from each other. Now, I was very fortunate that in 2014, 2015, I was the president of the International Garden Centre Association, and first time in 66 years that Ireland had the presidency, and it was a great honour. And it was unusual because in 1909, I was going to Japan, and I'm on the horticultural board and the main board of Board Bia, and I asked Aidan Cotter if I could bid for to bring a congress to Ireland in 2015, and Aidan said, "Go for it, Rachel." And I bid for it, and my bid was accepted. So it was during my presidency that they came to Ireland. So we had an amazing experience. We stayed in Carton House for the week, and we visited places of horticultural industry, of horticultural interest. And this was in Leighlinbridge, and we visited on the Wednesday morning as a functioning garden centre, and we brought them on to Lyrat and got all of the people in the industry that was interested in exporting, from bulb growers, the Christmas tree growers, the foliage growers, all set up in the Lyrat Hotel in Kilkenny. And they had an audience of the top people from all over the world who were the influential buyers. So it was really very good. But then we brought them to the races in Gordon Park and back to the Arboretum, where the staff had miraculously turned the place inside out, and the whole outside area was a stage, and we had river dance, and we had a meal, and we had a local choir dressed up, the Espiro choir dressed as waiters and waitresses, and while they were serving the meal, they then just went into a flash mob and sang Danny Boy, and it was it's gone down in history. It's one of the best congresses ever, and I'm really proud of that. This is we're one of 2 Weber World stores in Ireland. This is Sean O'Brien, our local hero, rugby man, and this was back 2 years ago, this bottom Weber thing, and it was the biggest crowd Weber ever had in England or Ireland in the Arboretum, and the Weber barbecue demonstrations is superb. Then at Christmas time, we turned the whole place into Christmas. Laura Lynn Children's Fund is the charity that we do. We charge for, people donate for wrapping. All of that goes to Laura Lynn. We get you have €3 to get a stamp to post the letter to Santa, and all that goes to Laura Lynn. And we have somebody up in the office writing a letter to every child and from the North Pole. But it's just absolutely fantastic. December was the worst month of the year. We had to make a decision: do we let staff go, or do we do something mad? So we've done something mad. December is now the second best month of the year. So how we can turn around our business if we have that desire and desire to do it. We do lots of things for Christmas. That was the Congress when it came to Ireland. We had President Michael D. Higgins in the Mansion House, and delegates were so impressed. I just have to tell you about, oh shoot, we can go back to that one. Oh. I'm okay. Right. Loyalty cards. I'm not a great one for loyalty cards, partly because I never have the right one in the purse when I'm in that shop. So we had a loyalty program, and it really wasn't working. It was points-based, the same as Tesco and Dunnes Stores and all the rest. So it wasn't. We had 9,000 people on in 3 years. So Fergal had met this person in England, my son, and we have gone for this A-list. So it makes people feel very special. And in just over 2 years now, we have 45,000 people joined up in A-list. So it is really working. And I'm the one that kept saying, show me the bottom line, tell me. I've seen 11,000 in for a buying group for juicers. Are we making that sort of money? Are we getting that return on it? And the first item we done as a promotion on A-list was hydrangeas. Do you know when they're really fabulous and in flower? And they were €19.95, so €20. We got a guy to contract grow 2,500 of them for us. He sold them to us for €8. And we gave a free one to everybody when they spent €80. And within, I think it was 3 weeks, all the hydrangeas were gone. So this A-list, this particular type of reward, I think is excellent. We've got email addresses for 75% of our customers, and that is because we send them out an email saying, we know it's your birthday this month, and come in and have birthday cake and coffee on us. And 70% of our turnover now comes from people who are A-list members. So it's an absolutely a great. We embrace all the online sales, all the online things, and you can see how techie I am. But look, we're in all that space. We have somebody now dedicated to online sales, and I'm shocked that 850,000 per hour is sold online in Ireland. 14 million per week is going out of the country online. So I suppose to me, while I've never bought anything online in my life, we have to embrace the technology, we have to move with the times, and we have to do the things that we have to do. And I think it's going to just affect retail so much. The future plans in Kilquade, County Wicklow. The guy that owned Kilquade rang me over the last maybe 4 years or 5 years saying he was going to sell and he had to sell and would I buy, and I used to say, Niall, I have enough problems, go away from me. And Fergal was on the way to a wedding in Italy on the plane. He rang me and he said, Ma, go out and buy the Independent. He says, Kilquade is on it. So I was in my own kitchen. It was about 11 o'clock in the day, which had never been my own kitchen at that time. Got the car keys, went to the shop, bought the paper, sat outside the shop and read it. Rang Frank and Barry. And I said, can you come to Kilquade with me now? Because there is no tomorrow with me. And I need to get this out of my system. So we went to Kilquade and get it out of my system. I fell madly in love with it. Absolutely. Just loved everything about it. And it's amazing. This is a picture of it. And it's 7.5 acres, and it has 2 acres of display gardens. The top picture on the left-hand side, there's a pond in the centre of, that's a walkway the whole way down through it. I haven't told Frank yet, my husband, that I bought an amazing sundial for that. It's in it all right, but he doesn't know he knows I bought it, but he doesn't know how much it cost. But it wasn't 1 and 6pence, but it's amazing. So we're working. This is a work in progress, and we now have on my right hand side along that wall there's an 8-acre amazing property, and we have bought it. And I lie awake at night thinking of all the things that I'd love to do with it. There's only one minor problem. I think I'm 25. And, but anyway, there's a fantastic house on it, and it has 8 bedrooms, and it'll be a health and wellness centre in a few years. It's amazing. It's going to give us, this is the restaurant in Kilquade in Wicklow, and this is 2015. We were absolutely thrilled to win the best retailer in Ireland. Thank you, David. It was just an amazing night, and we didn't believe it, and we were up against very stiff competition and some amazing businesses in Ireland. Then the next year we got the best company in Ireland, so that was superb. And then the next year we got Garden Centre of the Year. And this year, and I'm going to show you this because I'm so proud of it, and I hope you don't mind, and I'm not boasting, but I'm just really, really proud. I won the Lifetime Achievement Award from Retail Excellence Ireland, and to me was the icing on the cake. I will never forget it. I wish that had my hair blow dried for the night, but I didn't expect to be winning anything. And one tip to the ladies here: if ever you think you're going to get an award, don't kick your shoes off under the table and not be able to find them. So, and that's what happened to me on the night, because I was sitting back watching this thinking, the MC was saying that in 20 years 2 people had got the award. Patrick Hanley from Tipperary, who is the CEO of Harvey Nicks in the UK, won the first, and Senator Fergal Quinn got the second one. And I was actually thinking, wonder who is it? Who is he? I said, and this is it. Buried deep within us is that real need to cultivate the soil and bring forth from the earth.
What you did 40 years ago, what you continue to do today, is quite amazing. Starting off with a small garden centre at the front of your house, and now look what it's become. One of the very best garden centres and garden operations in the world.
My goodness, I remember a few years ago when I was filming with Rachel, she's showing me a photograph of the up and over garage, which was beside the bungalow that she got when you got married, and that was where the Arboretum started from. And my goodness, what an amazing 40 years it's been.
Knowing you, Rachel, I know 3 most important things about you. One is you're passionate about business, about horticulture and about plants. And I suppose from my perspective, having worked in the horticulture division in Borbia for a number of years, you've always been there on the board to give some advice, some help and some mentoring. And of course last year achieving that fantastic national award with REI. I think that says it all about you as a business person, as a horticulturalist. So congratulations on your award tonight, and see you soon.
Really, I think a special person, and no better person to be given this lifetime achievement. Well done, Rachel, from all of us. Thank you.
Rachel, you've been an outstanding and selfless contributor to the horticulture industry and to Borbia. Your creativity, your commercial sense, your long-term perspectives have provided a platform for all of us, both in the industry and in Bord Bia. You're generously sharing at all times. You challenge our thinking, you brainstorm new ideas with us, you get us introductions almost anywhere in the world. We always know we can call on you, Rachel. Congratulations, we're so proud of you and we're delighted for you.
It's an absolute honour, and I'm delighted to bestow on you the Lifetime Achievement Award for what you've contributed to retail, not only for Arboretum, which you brought from its infancy 40 years ago to what it is today, the tremendous success. And I'm delighted for what you've contributed to Arboretum and to retail in Ireland with this award on you tonight. Congratulations, Rachel.
Rachel Doyle, what a contribution she's made to the garden centre sector, to the retail industry, to humanity, to getting on with people and supporting people. She's created a brilliant business in Carlow, now in Kilquade. She's raised a brilliant family. Barry and Fergal are such brilliant guys. So Rachel, I'm delighted that this year you're winning this tremendously important award. Enjoy it.
Mum, you've been a great inspiration, a great leader to us all, but most of all, you've been an amazing mum and an amazing friend. Enjoy your night, you deserve this.
Hi Mum, congratulations on winning this prestigious award. You've been an inspiration to so many people that have worked in Arboretum over the years, and for both Fergal and myself, working alongside you over the years, you inspire us every day. Congratulations, we're so very, very proud of you.
I'm delighted to have this opportunity to send my sincere congratulations to Rachel Doyle as she's presented with the Lifetime Achievement Award by Retail Excellence Ireland. Rachel, you've built Arboretum from your garage into a world-class retail business and Bord Bia's first ever 5-star garden centre. You're a fantastic example of Irish entrepreneurship and innovation, and your success will encourage many others to follow in your footsteps. This award is richly deserved, and I want to wish you and all your team continued success in the years ahead. Congratulations.